Hello and welcome to Joy-Con Cast episode 19. I'm your host Nicholas, and this week we are talking potential Black Friday deals for the Nintendo Switch, why I'm still excited for Pokemon despite some problems, and discussing whether 2020 is or even should be a slow year for Nintendo Switch. Welcome back to the show. Hopefully you are all excited. I'm glad to be back here talking about Nintendo Switch goodness. And this week there really wasn't a lot of Switch news, and that's one thing that kind of makes the the podcast hard to do when there isn't a lot to necessarily talk about. But I think what I will do, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous installment, but one thing I will do, if there's not a lot of news, I really just want to, find a subject or find a topic to discuss and then just go hone in on it. And I think that's what we'll do this week since there really isn't a lot of news. So, yeah, that's that. We'll kind of find our way along the episode, I suppose. But with that said, let's jump right into my first little snippet. A little information. It seems as the Nintendo Switch Lite just might get a price drop. Not really a price drop, but a nice little deal come Black Friday. Apparently a Walmart ad for Black Friday leaked with some deals regarding Switch, Xbox, PS4, all that good stuff. Take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. Don't, I'm not saying this is legit at all. We all know how leaks are. But there was one deal that particularly catered towards the Nintendo Switch Lite. And that is a deal of $199.99 to $149.99 for the Nintendo Switch Lite. That's $50 off, which is pretty darn impressive. Nintendo rarely does any sort of deals or discounts or sales. I don't think, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that even the Switch itself never went down on Black Friday since it released. I think it stayed at a consistent $299.99. I don't even think there are Black Friday deals for that. Which means that having the Switch Lite, which just released in September, already go on sale is pretty cool. It's pretty good. So if you want a Switch Lite, if you've been waiting out on it, hop on that come Black Friday. If it's real, obviously, $50 off is pretty good, I'd say. I think honestly $150 sounds like a much more reasonable price for the Switch Lite compared to $200. I don't think $200 is a bad price at all, but $150 does sound pretty appropriate. So I'm very excited to see if that's true or not. Nintendo systems rarely go on sale, especially this close after it released. So interested in seeing if that one is legit. However, speaking of deals and sales, there's actually a discounted Nintendo Switch V2. So the red box Switch, the one with the improved battery life. There's actually a website that is currently now selling it for $262.95. I'll have a link in the comments to the website if you want to go ahead and check it out. I believe there is, let me actually see. The last time I checked, let me see if you can get it. As of right now, recording, the only color available is gray. It looks like the neon is sold out. So definitely get on that. It's from SNG Trading. There's also a little promo code SNG47. Again, I'll have that in the comments if you guys are interested. This is a pretty decent deal. It's $32 off. I mean, if you want the red box Switch, the one with the slightly better battery life, I think this is a pretty good deal. You're saving $32 and you get that improved battery life. Personally, I didn't get a chance to talk about this. You know what? I didn't get a chance to talk about the red box Switch because obviously I took a small break. I don't know if it's worth it or not. For slightly better battery life, if you already have a Switch, if you can get a pretty decent trade-in value from GameStop and you can trade in your current Switch for either the Switch Lite or the new Switch, obviously go ahead. That's your call. I would love to have the necessary funds to just throw away at the new Switch systems. I wish I did. I really wish I did, but alas, I can't. But yeah, pretty good deal if you're looking for a Switch in general or the one with the improved battery life. And Nintendo systems rarely go on sale. You rarely see discounts on them. So definitely hop on that. Again, I'll put everything in the comments if you guys want to check that out. And get yourselves a Redbox Nintendo Switch. Next up, I want to talk about Pokemon for a little bit. So when Pokemon Sword and Shield were first announced, I can't even remember. I think this was... I can't remember back when this was. It was sometime this year. Before E3, I believe. And when this game was first announced, I and many others were very, very excited. Obviously, this is the first real Pokemon game on a console. And it's kind of exciting playing any game on Switch, especially Pokemon in this case. Like, playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was really cool. Playing it on a TV, but then still having that portable aspect was really, really cool. And I think myself and a lot of people were very excited for the next step in Pokemon and where they would take it. The Switch offers much more power than the 3DS, which, the games were last released on. So there was definitely some expectation to see a graphic boost, to see, a bigger game, a more open world. And as time went on, as we saw more gameplay, as we got more announcements, as we saw more interviews with the directors and the developers, it just seems like every passing piece of information left some disappointment. And it left some room for speculation and disappointment and confusion. And yeah, there are some disappointing factors like the national dex. Not every Pokemon will be included. And I discussed that back when that was still going on a couple months back, about the, not every Pokemon will be featured. There's actually no, there's no national dex, period. It's only the Galar dex, and not every Pokemon's included in the Galar dex. That's what I believe it is. So basically, you can't bring over other Pokemon from other games if they're not from Galar. So that was pretty disappointing, especially considering we have the Pokemon Home app. Will essentially bring all of your Pokemon to one space, and then from there you can transfer them around games. It is kind of weird, that we have this new home app where you can bring all of your Pokemon over, yet you can't transfer them to the new games. It is kind of an odd thing. Then we had people kind of complain about the graphics of the game not looking so sharp. And yes, I do kind of agree. There are definitely some areas in gameplay from E3 and even more recent gameplay that, yeah, it's a little rough around the edges. And it's a little rough to look at. But I think the game, when it does release, especially if you're playing on handheld, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be A-okay. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think Pokemon has ever gone for a realistic look. It's always gone for more, cartoon, toonish looking, style. And while I'm not excusing poor optimization, I'm not excusing poor time management, I'm not excusing lack of effort or anything. I am saying that I think when it comes to actually playing the games, anything bad, like the trees, for example, from the E3. I don't think they're really gonna look as bad when you're just playing the game. Obviously, if you're watching gameplay and you're looking for that stuff and you point it out, yeah, it's going to look terrible. But I think come release, when we sit down and we play the games, I don't know if it's really going to be something worth complaining about. I do wish the games looked good, and I do think they look good, but, it is what it is. Some more news that came out was that the games themselves might not be much bigger than previous installments, so they may not be bigger than other games. They're maybe comparable to what we've already played. And I think a lot of people were really expecting these games to be like the Breath of the Wild of the Pokemon franchise. I remember back when this game was first announced, and I think there's gameplay of like just the world and different places to explore and stuff like that. And of course, a lot of people were excited. Myself, I still am. I'm very excited. It's Pokemon. I love Pokemon, but I think a lot of people really get their expectations up for any game, for any movie, and then when that product comes out and people realize, oh, they were never trying to be this, whatever. They were never trying to be Breath of the Wild. They get disappointed and they get upset, and then they take it out towards the creators of that game for not giving them what they thought it should have been. If any of that makes sense. And I myself, over the years, when it comes to any sort of game or movie, I've really learned to just take in what I see and go from there. I try not to overhype stuff. I try not to, get my expectations up. And I think I did the same thing with Pokemon. And I still really enjoy Pokemon. And I'm excited for the games despite the issues, despite the problems. And I think that this game also does some really, really cool things. I really do like the Galar, what are they called? The Galar versions of the Pokemon. Like Galar, Farfetch is really, really cool. I like them. I didn't usually like the, oh gosh, I'm blanking here. What was the 7th region called? What was the 7th region called? I forgot. Either way, the Funky Island one, I didn't really like a lot of like the Meowth, for example, the the Pokemon that were familiar with that region. I didn't really care for their appearance. I didn't really care for the way they looked, but I really liked the Galar Pokemon in this one. I think they're unique. I think they're different. I think they're really, really cool. The raid battles seem really interesting. I think this is gonna be really, really cool. The max raid battles are kind of I'm pretty sure they are online co-op. I'm pretty sure, if not, at least like local co-op, I'd hope. But you basically battle like a big Pokemon with other people. I think that's really, really cool. It's something, it's kind of like Destiny, but in Pokemon, and you battle one big Pokemon. And I think a lot of the Pokemon that they've chosen to make big, like Chunky Pikachu, they look pretty cool. Even the Meowth, you have a lawn Meowth that you have to fight, and I think it's kind of cool. And for a franchise that's had such a basic, simple formula, you pick a starting Pokemon, you battle a few gyms, you fight the Elite Four, maybe there's some post-game content, then you're done. For a game franchise that's stuck with such a familiar, basic set of rules and formula, I think this game shows that there's still something new to offer, and it's going to be cool, it's going to be fun, and I'm very excited for it. And I don't know. I think despite the problems, despite the issues, I think it's going to be a great game. One thing that I've seen also time and time again with Pokemon, or not just Pokemon games, but just games in general, is a lot of people hype the games up. They might get disappointed over the few months, but then at launch, a lot of people really seem to end up liking the games. This is something I've seen with the Let's Go games, actually. A lot of people were kind of excited at first, realized, hey, these are kind of like baby Pokemon games. I don't want them. And then at launch, a lot of people really seem to end up liking them. Personally, I love them. I thought, even though I love harder Pokemon games, I love the main series Pokemon games. I like them a little more hard. I like the story. I like, all that stuff. And Let's Go games kind of stripped a lot of basic features, and they stripped items, or at least held items and abilities and stuff like that. And yeah, it kind of made the experience not so fun, not so great. But in the end, the game was still, in my opinion, top notch. It was still a lot of fun. And I really, really enjoyed the games. And I think most people did, to be honest. I think most people liked the games. And I think it's going to be the same thing this year. I think a lot of people are disappointed because there are some kind of odd decisions, I think, that was made with the games this year. There's some odd decisions made. But overall, I'm very excited for the games. I think that they're still going to be very, very fun. And once the games actually come out, obviously I'll be talking about it a lot when it comes out, giving my thoughts, giving my opinions, and doing a little mini review of the game. And I think most people will end up enjoying it. And it kind of sucks that there has been a lot of criticism and hateful words towards the directors of the game. And that always sucks to see whenever, like Masuda, I can't even imagine how much feedback or criticism or comments or whatever that he gets regarding the games. And it does kind of I feel bad that in the age of the internet, people just trying to make a game here, have to go through so much. But it is what it is. I think that the games, despite some of the issues, I think they're still going to be fun because they're Pokemon games. And for me, it's really, really hard to imagine somebody sitting down and playing through Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, playing Gen 2 Remake, Gen 1 Remake, Gen 2 Remake, Gen 3 Remake, playing all these games, and then comes Sword and Shield. This is where they decide, yeah, I've had enough, I'm tired. Like, hello? Like, every Pokemon game is the same basic formula, same basic objective, just new Pokemon, new areas to explore, and a little gimmick or two to make it different from the one before it. I find it really hard to imagine that this is the Pokemon game where people draw the line, and this is the Pokemon game where people have had enough. I think these are going to be the most innovative and fun Pokemon games yet. I still think Pokemon Hearts Gold, Soul Silver are like top tier, most definitely. But after getting my hands on these, they might be in the top 3. I really do think they'll be in the top 3. I think they're going to be fun because at the end of the day, they're Pokemon games. And if you liked any of the previous Pokemon games, chances are you're going to like this Pokemon game. So when it comes out, I believe the 15th of November, I think. I want to say the 15th of November. I want to say. When that drops, I'm going to be spending a lot of time, and I'm hopefully going to beat Fire Emblem before Pokemon, and hopefully a couple other games, because so many games I'm playing on Switch right now. Luigi's Mansion's coming out too. Oh my goodness. Either way, yes, I'm still excited for Pokemon. I'm going to buy it day one, of course. And I think you should too. I think everyone should give it a shot. Because like I said, it's still, at the end of the day, Pokemon. And it's funny to me that this is the game where a lot of people seem to draw the line and want to boycott the games. I don't know. Moving on from Pokemon, like I said, we'll be talking about that plenty over the course of the next couple weeks here Moving on, one thing I want to discuss is a potential slow year for Nintendo Switch in 2020. Now, this year for Switch was no doubt one of the best years. I actually think this might have been the best year for Nintendo Switch. Man, oh man, was this a packed year. It started out kind of slow. We got some drizzles, throughout the first few months there. But once like spring picked up and we got into summer, honestly, Switch owned the summer. I mean, we got Marvel Ultimate Alliance, we got Mario Maker 2, we got Fire Emblem 3 Houses, we got Astral Chain, Demon X Machina. Towards fall, we got Spyro came out, Dragon Quest came out, The Witcher, Luigi's Mansion's coming out. We have Overwatch, we had Link's Awakening, Untitled Goose Game, just so many games. It was a packed year for Nintendo Switch, and man, oh man, it was expensive. It was expensive, and I haven't even picked up every major game that I wanted to. I still have to pick up Astral Chain and Daemon X Machina. I skipped out on those. I do need to go back and get those. Link's Awakening, I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, if I'm being 100% honest, but I might give this game a shot around December after I complete a couple other games. Untitled Goose Game, I wanted to pick up day one as well. I don't know why I didn't. I wanted to take my time with some other games I'm currently working on, but yeah, this year was a pretty packed year for Switch. It was fantastic, and even sales-wise, the sales went up this year. I believe that they sold 15 million systems just in North America. Well, they didn't sell, so they've surpassed 15 million units sold in America, which is still more than like the worldwide sales of the Wii U. So yeah, Switch is doing, I mean, we don't even have to talk about that anymore. The Switch is obviously doing much better than the Wii U. It's an obvious hit for Nintendo. Obviously they have a hit on their hands, obviously. But I kind of talked about this last week a little bit with the PS4 and Xbox, or the PS5 and Xbox Scarlet coming out next year at the end of the year, holiday 2020. Nintendo Switch should do relatively well, I'd imagine. I can't picture too many people picking up a PS4 and an Xbox starting around now. With the new consoles on the horizon, it just doesn't make sense. And chances are, I'm hoping that there is, I think there's rumored, I don't know if it was confirmed, I'm pretty sure it was rumored that the PS5 would have, that it could play PS4 games. It would be backwards compatible with PS4. Maybe even PS1 through PS4 I read. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's what I read. I'm sure Xbox Scarlet will be backwards compatible. I'm pretty sure it was already confirmed. So even if you just want to play like the new PS4 games, like Last of Us, it's now delayed till next May instead of February, which I'm fine with. Unless you really, really can't wait, you just need to play that game, and you gotta pick up a PS4, even though, how did you play the first game? I guess maybe on PS3, but if you waited this long for a PS4, you might as well just hold out for the PS5. I think Switch will sell the best next year. I think that's without a doubt. Like, that's just common sense. Most people are gonna buy the Switch. It's the newer system. It's getting newer games. Xbox and PS4 are kind of slacking a little bit. Obviously, we still have like Death Stranding, Last of Us, stuff like that. But again, that system by the end of next year is going to be replaced, whereas the Switch is not. So obviously, the Switch is going to continue to sell really, really well next year. However, I don't know if we're going to see too many games next year for Nintendo Switch. And this was kind of a trend that we saw starting with the Switch's release. 2017 was huge. We got like a game nearly every month. Obviously, we got Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey in one year. We got tons of other games sprinkled throughout the year, sandwiched between those two beautiful games, and it was good. It was good to be a Switch owner. Like, it was good to be a Switch owner that first year, because there was just every month it felt like there was a new game. A ton of developers were like kind of putting their games on Switch, trying to see how well they would sell, and it was great. It was fantastic. We were like eating every month. It was just a new game to play, and I can't even remember the Wii U ever having a time like that. Even in 2018, when it was kind of slow with Switch, still, like, the drought between games when it came to the Wii U was incredible. I mean, it was just awful being a Wii U owner and waiting for new games and waiting for updates and waiting for news. The Switch, right out of the gates, came swinging with games, and it's been pretty consistent since launch, I will have to say. Although 2018 was kind of a slower year, there were a couple games at the beginning of the year, and then obviously at the end we had Pokemon and Smash Bros. But it was pretty much a slow, kind of steady year. There really wasn't a lot of big stuff releasing throughout the year. And then we have 2019, which was kind of like 2017 again, all over again. It was just game after game after game, and great games as well. It was fantastic. And I think next year we're going to see something very similar to 2018. I don't know. We have Animal Crossing coming out next spring, which I'm very excited about. Next April, I'm very excited. And honestly, like, that's kind of it, I think. I don't know if there's anything. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's anything else. With a 2020 release, even, I'm sure we'll get a direct by the end of this year. I'm pretty sure. I feel like we just had one not too long ago, but we might get another one by the end of this year, and kind of hint towards some new games next year. But, like, as far as Animal Crossing goes, that's pretty much it. I don't know if we actually will see Breath of the Wild 2. I talked about in the previous episode how that's probably Nintendo's best bet against PS5 and Xbox Scarlet launching, is releasing Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know if we'll actually have that. I don't think so. I don't think though. I don't know. I feel like if they do, they'd release it alongside like a Switch Pro as well. I feel like Breath of the Wild. I mean, they did it with Breath of the Wild. They released it alongside Switch. Alongside the Switch Lite, they released Link's Awakening. I feel like Nintendo realizes Zelda is kind of a good system seller. It's a good game to release alongside a new system. I feel like they'd wait and release that alongside Switch Pro, which is inevitable. I feel like that's inevitable. I feel like that's, if not next year, definitely 2021. I don't know if they'd release it next year, in all honesty. I don't know if they'd release it alongside PS5 and Xbox Scarlet. Maybe they're crazy. Maybe they'll do it. I don't know. Xenoblade Chronicles. That's right. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition does release 2020. I'm not sure exactly when, but that releases. And then, what's the other game? I have to look this one up so that I actually get the title. Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. That's coming to Switch early next year as well. I think like January, right off the bat. That's coming to Switch. And then Doom Eternal obviously got delayed. Brain Age, I don't know if that's coming here, but I think that's coming to like Japan or something of the sort. It's coming to Europe on January 3rd, 2020. I would assume it's coming to the US at some point. If not, maybe around the same time. I loved Brain Age on 3DS. That was so much fun. I would definitely pick this game up on Switch. Like, I would like to have. I would love to have this game on Switch. I think they're kind of better suit for more like mobile devices. Having this game on mobile would actually be really cool. But yeah, I'd love to have it on Switch. But yeah, I don't know. 2020 just seems like a kind of lackluster year, and of course, 2019 isn't even over. We did have a ton of games drop, so it's not like there aren't games to play by any means. There are definitely games to play and to hold people over. But I definitely think Nintendo's going to let the next year kind of, I don't know, it's so weird, especially because I don't think Nintendo needs to put all their eggs in this basket for next year. I don't think they need to drop game after game after game like they did this year, because for the first 8-10 months, the Switch is going to be the newest system. Well, it's already, but it's going to be the newest system on the streets. And I guess that's also kind of a bad thing. I was going to say, because the PS5 and Scarlet are coming out, nobody's going to buy PlayStations or Xboxes right now. But at the same time, Nintendo needs to convince people to, instead of holding out for these newer consoles, to drop the cash on theirs. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think they need to drop too many games next year, just because, like I said, if they really want people to buy Switch, that's already going to happen. And I think they should save a lot of big ones for the following year after these newer consoles are already out. And I can't imagine that the launch releases for PS5 and Xbox Scarlet are going to be amazing or top notch. So maybe just wait after those release, and then 2021 come through with a Switch Pro, come through with Breath of the Wild 2, drop a lot of heat throughout the year. I don't know, Nintendo. This is interesting. This is one of the things that kind of makes the generations of consoles very interesting, because Nintendo's usually either behind or the first of a generation. It's the same thing. The Wii released before, pretty sure released before PS4 and Xbox One. After PS3 and 360, then it had to compete with not only PS3 and 360, but it also had to compete with the PS4 and Xbox One. And that's the same thing that we're seeing now with the Switch. It's doing really good at launch, but newer consoles are on the way. Switch had to compete with PS4 and Xbox One. Now we have to worry about a whole new generation of consoles, and Switch is already a little underpowered compared to those versions. And I don't know, 2020, it's going to be interesting. I know I already kind of talked about this last week, but if Nintendo does release a Switch Pro, I think depending on price point, design, and new features, I would contemplate picking up a Switch Pro. And I think for me, pretty much since the Switch released, I play most of my games on Switch. Obviously exclusives, but also third parties, indies, AAAs, you name it. I love the portability of the Switch. I love the flexibility of the Switch. Playing it in docked, handheld, tabletop, putting it in a tablet holder. There's so many different ways to play games, and I think that makes it more fun than just sitting in front of a TV with a controller and kind of being locked there. So for me, yeah, I think depending on what it offers, a Switch Pro would be great. I think it would be cool to see what Nintendo could do. I think the biggest thing is obviously battery life, improved graphics, slightly bigger screen, Bluetooth support for wireless headphones. More storage, more onboard storage would be great. 32 gigabytes is kind of laughable, especially moving forward. We're going into 2020. We're going into a whole new decade. Games. I was playing Call of Duty last night, Modern Warfare, and that game is 175 gigs. It's 128, I think, at launch. which is still like, oh my god, I had to delete some games on my my drive. Like I had to remove a lot of games, and I think that there's even like you need to have 175 for upcoming events and patches and expansions and all that, whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so much storage. And I think I downloaded the Outer Worlds as well on PC, and that too, I think that was like 40 or 50 gigabytes. I mean, it's to a point now where a lot of games themselves you can't download. I mean, there's a lot of games where you can't download on your Switch unless you have an SD card. Like the onboard storage is not enough to cater towards just one game. Now, obviously, for smaller games or Nintendo's exclusives, they usually do pretty good. Making their files very, very small, which has always been very impressive to me, and I'm glad that they take the time to do that. So, obviously, in that case, yeah, you might be fine, but still, like, if Nintendo wants to survive moving forward with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet, and they want games on their system, it's crazy that 32 gigabytes is the amount that they seem comfortable putting on their system. Like, and I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how much it would be to increase storage or anything like that. I'm not designing the Switch here. I'm not the one that has to figure that out. But I definitely think that is one thing that Nintendo most definitely needs to work on moving forward, because 32 gigabytes is, and I have a 512 gigabyte SD card. I definitely want to upgrade to 1 or even 2 terabytes when those become not $300 plus when those become, affordable. I definitely do want to pick up a terabyte SD card, because I'd fill it. Like, my 512 gigabyte SD card is pretty much full right now. I'm trying to work through some games and knock those out so that I can remove them and, get more games for my Switch. But yeah, like, it's crazy. It's crazy how big these games are, and Nintendo's 32 gigabytes just, I don't think cuts it anymore. So yeah, hopefully moving forward, I don't know how much, I don't know a realistic amount. Honestly, I'd love to. I mean, you look at like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox launched, I believe, with 500 gigabytes, and now those have a terabyte, and we might see even more storage with the new consoles. It's just kind of like, especially for a portable device, a mobile console where you take it with you. I'm, like I mentioned, I'm all digital on my Switch. I'm sure many people are all digital, and not having the appropriate amount of storage to download your games, because I'm sure a lot of people want to download them and keep them on their system at all times. Like, to not have the required storage for that is pretty disappointing. And so yeah, I hope that's one thing that the Switch Pro fixes, is storage, because I think it needs it. I think it needs more storage. Like I said, I don't know, 120 gigabytes. That would be decent. 128 gigabytes. That would be decent. I could fit a good chunk of games on 128. At least some of like the Nintendo games, I think that's fair. I think that's decent. 128, right? Yeah. Throw in a 512 gigabyte SD card, or even a 1 terabyte once those become. Actually, let me see how much a 1 terabyte is right now. I think they are like over $300. Let me go to Amazon. I do want to see, because I do want one. I do want a 1 terabyte SD card. Micro SD card. I believe the Switch supports up to 2 terabyte once those become available as well. So let me see. Oh my gosh, a SanDisk 1 terabyte micro SD card is $440. That is crazy. And it looks like that's the only one. There are a couple here. There's this one that I see for $32. I don't trust that. But that's insane. That's more than the Switch itself. That is crazy. That's insanity. So, yeah, once those become like, not the entire price of a console, once those are, affordable, yeah, I'll pick that up for Switch. Right now, 512 gigabytes. I think that's suitable for me. I think that does the trick. I think that's more than fine, personally. But yeah, it's storage is one of the biggest things, I think. Obviously graphics as well. I'd like to see an improved chipset on whatever Nintendo decides to do, for the Switch Pro or the new Nintendo Switch. I think that games right now look pretty darn impressive for being on a tablet, for being on, a console that is as big as my graphics card in my PC. Like, it's pretty impressive how good games look. I have to be honest. It is pretty impressive how games look. And if that means that whenever Nintendo releases a upgraded version, if that means that they're going to look even better, even sharper, like, I'm excited for it. Like, I think that, I don't know, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be really, really cool to see whatever Nintendo does next with, the Switch Pro or whatever. And I'm excited. I really am excited. I really am excited to see what Nintendo does. And like I said, depending on price point, I may pick up a Switch Pro. Like, for me, I didn't pick up a PS4 Pro just because, like, 4K is not really worth it. At least not yet for me. It's not worth paying for a whole new console to get 4K. My PS4 is the original PS4. It's not the slim. It's the the boxy design. It suits me well, and I really, really like it. But a Switch Pro, I've been using my Switch. I use it almost every day since launch. I love it. I play a lot of games on it. For me, I do think a Switch Pro would be worth it. There's a lot, honestly, I might just sit down and come up with like a checklist of things that I'd like to see from it. Because I'll be honest, like, there really isn't a lot of issues that I've had with Switch. Some minor things like battery life, storage, and I want Bluetooth support for wireless headphones so I can use my AirPods with it. Please, Nintendo. I think the screen is fine. I really do. Like, yeah, when you look at the Switch, you kind of see the bezel. And it doesn't look as appealing as some more modern consoles or modern smartphones or modern tablets. But when you're actually playing the game, you don't really notice it. You don't really pay attention to it. You don't really look at it. Like, it doesn't really, it's kind of like the notch on an iPhone or bezels in phones. Like, it kind of disappears as you're using it. Yeah, it'd be cool if the bezel was a lot slimmer and the screen was kind of stretched out a little more. But I think, honestly, I think it's fine. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll see that in 2020, but what I do think we'll see is a slight drought. I'm sure that Nintendo has plans. I'm sure they'll drop some big games here and there, but I do think 2020 is going to be a slow year for Switch. And with people holding out for the next generation of PlayStation and Xbox, I think it's safe to say that Switch is going to sell the best next year compared to those systems, without a doubt. So it'll be interesting. I think this year was jam-packed. Can't really complain if Nintendo takes an off year. I don't think it's going to be trouble. I don't think it's going to be awful. I think Nintendo's going to cook up some stuff for after the next console's release. And we'll go from there. We'll see what Nintendo has planned. It's going to be exciting. With that said, let's talk about some new releases this week on Switch. I have not had a chance to play any of these, but I did want to give a shout out to some new games on Switch, specifically one game in particular that I do want to play at some point, because it looks kind of cool. Return of the Obra Dinn. This is it looks like a Game Boy game. Like there's no color. It's a black and white. It kind of looks hand drawn. And I guess you set out on a ship, and there are deaths that happen, and you basically have to go around the ship and try to like piece puzzles together and figure out who is who and figure out who did what and try to solve some of these murders. And I don't know, it looks very, very cool. It's $19.99 on Nintendo Switch, and I believe it's also on Xbox and PlayStation if you're interested. This is definitely going on my wish list, and I'm going to hold out probably for a sale, because by the time that happens, I'll have some free time to actually play it. But it looks really, really cool. It looks really, really interesting, and it might be a little hard. It looks like it's one of those like mystery puzzle games that I'll like solve the first puzzle, and I'll be like, woohoo, I did it. And then I go on to the second one, and I'm like stuck for like 3 years. But either way, it looks pretty cool, and I definitely want to give it a try at some point. The next game is A Hat in Time is finally available on Nintendo Switch. I remember back when the developers said this was never coming out on Switch. And now, like years later, it's out on Nintendo Switch. It is $29.99 and it's available now. You can also, for $32.99, get the deluxe edition of A Hat in Time, which includes the Seal the Deal DLC, or you can pick up that DLC separately for $4.99. So it's probably best just to get the deluxe edition, and you kind of get the DLC for half off there. Now, I played this game on PC. Because I was going to wait for the Switch release. I really was. Because like I said, I love my Switch. I play most games on Switch. And I wanted to hold out. But I ended up getting it on sale on Steam. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to wait. I don't know how much longer this is going to be. So I picked it up on PC and I played that. I can't remember. Maybe that was that this year? Was that last spring that I played it? Let me actually see. Because I did a Let's Play of it. That was last August, so that was over a year ago. I played that. I did a Let's Play on it on my other YouTube channel, which you guys should definitely check out as well. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game. And it was fun. It felt very much so like a Mario game, like a 3D Mario game. It was so much fun, and like I said, I really wanted to pick this game up on Switch because I felt like it'd be a little more fun on Switch, but I just couldn't hold out, and I would have been waiting over a year. Plus, I think I got the game with a pretty good deal, so yeah, I would recommend playing it. I'm not sure if there's too many issues, too many bugs, anything like that. I've read that there's some slight performance problems, but I think that's going to be something that even I think I read even other consoles have problems with. So I don't know, maybe wait out for a patch. But the game itself, the story itself, and the controls are great fun, and I had an absolute blast playing through that game. So yeah, I would definitely pick that up. Also, some high worthy deals on the Switch eShop. There's some deals going on right now on the Nintendo eShop. Nintendo has been doing pretty good with the eShop sales. This has been something that Nintendo, I can't remember if they did too well, like with the Wii U, but Nintendo Switch is doing a ton of good deals as of late, and not the best compared to like Steam or even on Xbox or PS4, but still, if you want to save a couple bucks, here's some games on sale. Darksiders 2 is $23.99 from $29.99. The Amnesia Collection, I'm just going to name off a few that are maybe bigger or games that people are looking at the moment. The Amnesia Collection is $19.49 from $29.99. Let's see what else there is. I'm looking at why is Slender on Nintendo Switch? What the heck? Among the Sleep is $12.49 from $24.99. I actually played this game on PC. This was a lot of fun on PC. It's a very quick game. It's like 5 hours, if that. So I think if you want to pick this game up, $12 is slightly better than $25 for the amount of content you're getting. So yeah, I think that's a really decent deal. Saints Row the Third is $23.99 from $39.99. I picked this game up on Switch a while back, and it's pretty fun. It runs fine, I think. I've enjoyed my time with it. Sniper Elite V2 Remastered is $17.49 from $34.99. Mortal Kombat 11 is almost half off. It's $35.99 from $59.99. And I see this game go on sale quite a bit on Switch. I picked this game up day one, so I feel like I feel kind of bad, because I've seen this game like go from like 35 to even 40. It is what it is. Darksiders War Mastered Edition is $20.09 from $29.99. If I didn't have so many games to play right now, I'd pick up the Darksiders games. I've wanted to play those for so long. Observer is $10.49 from $29.99. Again, another game I played on PC this year, actually, not too long ago. Fantastic game. I love it. Please go buy this game. At $10, I think it's a steal. It's a fantastic game. Go pick it up. Let's see what else is here. Gris is $10.19 from $16.99. Is there anything else? Lego Harry Potter Collection is $24.99 from $49.99. That's pretty decent. Batman: The Enemy Within is $7.49. It was $14.99. I might actually pick that up. It's half off. I might give that game a shot. I do like the Telltale games. So, Dead Cells is $19.99 from $24.99. Not the best deal, but Dead Cells is a great game. I bought this game on PC when it was in early access. I bought it on Switch when it released. Heck, I even bought it on iOS when it released on there. Fantastic game. I really recommend it. $5 off, not the best deal, but hey, if you want to get into it, now's your chance. Flipping Death is $5.99 from $19.99. I might actually pick that game up. I've been wanting to play that game for a while. I may pick that game up for $6 from $20. Yeah, I might get Flipping Death. Let's go through the list here. Outlast. The Outlast games are on sale. Outlast 2 is $8.99 from $29.99. And the Outlast Bundle of Terror, which includes Outlast and the Whistleblower DLC, is $7.49 from $24.99. I played these games on PC, and they are great games. I love these games. They're great horror games. If you want to play a spooky game to really get in the mood, you know, Halloween, it's coming up. It's coming up. So these may not be the worst games to play at the moment. Honestly, I might pick them up on Switch, even though I already have them on PC. I think they'd be fun to have on Switch. Layers of Fear Legacy is $3.99 from $19.99. I'm pretty sure this includes the layers. Let me actually see. Let me see if it'll tell me. I think this includes the base game and the DLC. Because there was DLC. Let me see. I don't know if it tells me. I'm pretty sure it does include the DLC as well. But for $4, it was $20. Again, this is a really cool psychological horror game, and for $4, the game is pretty short. So for $4, yeah, I'd say it's most definitely worth it. Give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like Outlast without people chasing you. Like, there is some spooky elements and there is some horror, but you don't really have to worry about enemies chasing you or anything like that. For a lot of you, that might be up your alley. That might be something that, you know, if you just want like a psychological, you know, haunted house to explore, Layers of Fear is that game. SteamWorld Heist Ultimate Edition is $5.99 from $19.99. That seems pretty cool. Batman the Telltale series is $7.49 from $14.99. Might pick this one and the other Batman Telltale game up. You can get both for the price of one, basically. Pretty decent deal. Let's see. Perception is $3.99 from $19.99. I think I picked this game up around this time last year. probably for the same price. And I liked it. It was all right. It was kind of gimmicky with the blind. You basically play as a blind girl, and it's kind of gimmicky after a while, but it's halfway decent. SteamWorld Dig 2 is half off. It's $9.99 from $19.99. Let's see what else there is. That brings us to the end of the list. Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment is $4.99 from $9.99, so half off. Pretty cool. And then Vampire as well. Vampire is set to release in 4 days. It's $5 off right now. It's $44.99 instead of $49.99. So it's kind of on that pre-purchase deal. If that's a game you want to pick up on Switch, you might as well save a couple bucks right off the bat. I'm playing this game on PC with Game Pass currently. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. I might skip out on Switch just because I got it free through Game Pass. So, yeah. And then Disgaea 4 Complete Plus is $39.99 instead of $49.99 if you pick it up now. It also releases on October 29th. So, there you go. There's some games on sale. Definitely pick those up if you want to. Of course, there's a ton of other games available. I just kind of listed off maybe bigger games or more well-known games. Games people have had their eyes on maybe. So, obviously, check the Switch eShop for more deals that might interest you. Along with that, I think that brings us towards the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. Any support would be greatly appreciated. Liking, sharing, commenting, all that good stuff. But with that said, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.